Hello, everyone. This is my very first live stream, so I hope you are patient with me. Um, this question came up in a Facebook mom groups for pregnant women. Um, I am currently pregnant with my second baby, and I was sharing the idea of doing a mini meditation retreat. So, specially aimed for pregnancy. I'm meditator. I'm trying to meditate every day. And I found that the more intentionally I create my practice, the more I actually go back to doing it, and the better the outcomes are. What I want to talk about today is how can you create the pregnancy mini retreat for yourself in a way that's the most beneficial for your pregnancy, but also for the time afterwards, for when you will have a probably completely different new life with a newborn. Um, so, the tools I want to very briefly discuss today are basically can be broken down into three different categories. So, the first one I want to talk about is mindfulness meditation. Then, I want to talk about brain programming and visualization methods. And then, I want to briefly touch into compassion meditation because I think that this is also quite interesting and helpful tool in a way of becoming a very chilled out and easygoing mom, which for me is still a thing I'm working on. Um, so, first, why should you do a mini meditation retreat for yourself? Um, the more you practice mindfulness meditation, the more you can actually see your reactions to things before you react. So let's say I've had a busy day. I'm coming back from work. My toddler is helping me cook in the kitchen, and he grabs a bottle of oil and spills it all over the floor. My first reaction is going to be, oh, why, why now? Why does this have to happen to me? But then, if I am mindful, I'm paying attention. I'm like, all right, he's a toddler. I obviously put the bottle of oil somewhere where he could reach it. So it was probably something that I could have prevented if I had paid attention. And it's just what it is. It doesn't matter if it happens. I have to clean it up now anyway. And maybe I can learn a little bit for the future, but I can probably just skip the frustration part. And so I think this is a massively good tool if you are having kids, or even if you don't, if you can notice what's going on in your mind. This can be so helpful for every part of your life, um, especially with a newborn. I've had the experience that when I woke up in the middle of the night to crying baby, maybe the third time at night, I haven't slept well in weeks because my baby was a couple of weeks old, and I was exhausted. And I felt like, wow, what's going on there? Is my life going to be like that forever? And then I caught myself and I was like, no, obviously not. The baby's going to grow and it's just a phase. Everything is just a phase. And having this mantra in my head made it so much easier for me to be able to go through sleepless nights, numerous nappy changes, where you get up, you feed the baby, change the nappy, and then you change the nappy again, and you put the baby down, and you feel like you're just in this hamster wheel. But it's okay because it's just a phase and there's so much good to it. So noticing what's going on in your own mind, that's why I love practicing mindfulness meditation. And I'm going to come back to how we're going to integrate that into the mini retreat. So this is mindfulness, noticing what's going on in your mind, being able to see, the faster the better for yourself, and being able to see what's going on, being able to react and doing those things. um, Reacting in a way that you want to react, not reacting in a way that's just the first thing that bubbles up to the surface and that you just have to get out of there Sometimes I feel like that's emotional vomiting. You don't want to do that, really, not to yourself, not to your kid, not to your husband, not to your family, whoever. So really try to get that emotional vomiting to a zero is probably one of my biggest goals because nobody wants that, especially don't want that. So that's mindfulness, number one. Why it's so important. Number two is brain programming, visualization methods. So that's basically when you see a reaction in yourself that you don't like. Let's say my husband is doing something with the baby that I don't fully agree with because I don't know, the way he is holding the baby is not exactly the way I would hold the baby, and I feel like reacting to it and telling him off for that. The mindfulness would kick in. I would say, well, is it actually wrong or is it just different to what I'm doing? And then I could see, all right, he's doing it in a different way. So I'm choosing how I want to react to that, choosing, do I want to tell him off for that? No, he doesn't deserve to be told off because he's just doing the best he can too. So how do I want to react instead? Um, and I would usually choose patience, understanding, um, caring, feeling feeling supported. Like those positive feelings can easily replace the feeling of, but this is not the way how I was picturing it, and I think you're doing it wrong. Because obviously most of the time that's not true. Most of the time it's just a different perspective that we're coming from, and everybody's doing things differently, and it's fine. So, and what's the brain programming part of that? Brain programming part of that would be now, before these things occur, you can prepare by giving yourself the brain programs, the affirmations, the visualizations to actually be chill. Could be that you maybe feel nervous about sleepless nights. And you think, oh, how am I going to handle sleepless nights? Because when I am being woken up at night, I feel that I lose my temper easily, and I usually snap at my husband for sleeping. Let's put it like that, as a hypothetical. Let's say that's a belief that you have about yourself. And let's put it like that, it's just a belief. Doesn't have to be like that. You don't have to be snapping at anybody. Don't have to lose your temper when being woken up. You can just be cool. Like there are a lot of people out there who are being woken up and they're fine. And you can train yourself into being that kind of person. You can train yourself into being okay with being woken up. Knowing that everything is a phase can help with that. What really can help now in the pregnancy meditation retreat is preparing for those situations. When you know, I'm an anxious person, when I see other people holding my baby, I want to tell them off instantly. How could you react instead? Or a big thing, what if my family, my extended family, gives me good advice for parenting, and I just want to tell them off. I don't want to be in that situation. I just want to get out of it. How can you react instead? So what I do, or what I did in my last pregnancy, and I'm doing this one as well, is I'm thinking about the pain points that could possibly come up, and then I'm thinking of how do I want to react. Let's say a big one for me was the unwanted advice. I got lots of that, as you can imagine, during pregnancy as well, and I thought it through, and I thought, what are the other options? I mean, I could tell them off. I could never meet them again. I didn't want to do that. I mean, just somebody giving me advice, what's the reasoning behind it? Because they think they know it better and they want to support me. So how can I react? And I found the thing, I wrote it down here. This is my 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 little brain program that I wrote on a card, and I try to practice it 3 times a day for a month, which is usually the way that it leads to success. And my card says, I react with compassion to unwanted advice. So somebody giving me advice, I don't know, telling me you can't eat this while being pregnant. Are you sure you want to have a third piece of cake, for example? um, and then I could say, wow, this is really none of your business. Come on, step back. This is you overstepping. Just leave me alone. I can eat the whole cake if I want to. Could be one of my reactions. But what is really the helpful thing here to do? People care about me. They don't want me to develop diabetes. They want me to be unhappy about the way I am. They might are worried about a sugar rush. Who knows? So I could also think, wow, thanks so much for caring about me. Thanks so much for thinking that it's important enough. The way that I am, the way that I act is important enough to you. The way that I feel is important enough to you that you come back to me and give me advice. You care enough about me to maybe also feel uncomfortable while telling me that. So I would usually just say, thank you so much. Thanks for caring. And you know what? I thought about it. I'm good with it. I can eat that third piece of cake as if I want to. So that's totally fine. Um, and the way I prepare for these situations is I have these positively written sentences like this one, or that one, or this one, written out on little cards. And I practice them, like I said, 3 times a day for a month. And especially during pregnancy, when things come up that are bugging me, I can use these. Some examples would be, I trust that everything is fine with me and my baby. Which obviously you have to, if you visualize that. So it would be yourself, you close your eyes, you would really feel, what does it feel like to trust? What does it feel like to be okay? What does it feel like to be calm? And then you go through different situations where you're like, whoa, I don't know, I have not had this experience before. And then you can say, whoa, is it something I have to contact my doctor about? Is it the checklist that they gave me at DOB? Did DOB tell me, is this one of the things to check for? No. Is it something that's most likely okay and I feel like it's good? Okay, then maybe I should be okay with it for now and just check in with myself in a couple of minutes and see, is this an issue or what's going on there? For me, this was like minor aches and pains. Round ligament pain, for one example, was super freaking me out at the beginning. I had trouble when I was riding my bike and I was getting up out of the seat, and it was hurting. And the first time I was really worried. And I called my OB and I said, hey, this happened. Is this a problem? And I even went in, I got checked out. No, it's not a problem. It's totally fine. Next time it happened, I knew it was fine. And something in me still reacted like, oh, what's going on there? And then that was when I started practicing. I trust if I know. I trust that it's fine. I trust that I'm fine. One of the things that helped me is I react with curiosity to changes in my body. Like I'm growing, my breast's getting bigger, my belly, obviously. Everything is changing. There are so many changes that nobody tells you about before pregnancy. And I found that I was judged a lot, but this is not helpful. I want to be curious. I want to be okay. I want to just be fine. It's going to change anyway, so I better be fine with it. So I was just imagining myself just stepping into the mindset of the person that's totally at peace with whatever happens in her body, totally happy with the results, and just really curious, what's going on there? How does my body even do that? I mean, I don't know how to build a baby consciously, but I'm so glad my body does. So yeah, thinking about the things you feel like would be good to practice now around being chilled out with your family, your partner, your baby, being super, super caring with yourself. So much love for yourself. Making time for yourself. Like, if you are wondering, how do I make time for myself? One of the affirmations could be, I'm awesome at finding time for myself during the day. I'm great at asking for help. I see where I need help and I ask people to help me. Those could be wonderful affirmations to practice right now, that you have them up and running by the time the baby's here. This is crucial. You really need to make time for yourself. You need to have people help you in one way or another. So that was number 2, brain programming and visualization. And the third one, and I just want to touch this briefly, is compassion meditation. So this is the one that I would sprinkle on everything. The foundation, the big foundation, mindfulness meditation. Big, big, big foundation. Because if I don't notice what's going on, I can't react. Has to be there first. And then on top of that, second pillar, brain programming. Really training myself into being the person I want to be. And then on top of that, the sweet sugary sprinkle of compassion meditation. Compassion meditation, if you want, I can guide one for you sometime. Just let me know in the comments. I can just record a little compassion meditation as well as a mindfulness meditation for you. Compassion meditation itself practices feeling good towards other people, feeling good towards yourself. Basically wishing other people well, wishing yourself well. And the way that I've been practicing has always been following a very, very strict regimen in a way that can then be flexible to whatever you need and whatever is good for you in that moment. So what I would usually do is I would practice feeling extra lovely towards my husband. Sometimes I would just do a love meditation towards him, feeling extra good about him, feeling extra lovely about him. Because in the stressful times of late pregnancy and early infant stage, the relationship between husband and wife or whatever the partners are sometimes suffers because there's just so much there's so many other things going on. So it's really good if you get back to that and say, hey, whatever that person is doing, whatever my partner's up to, I deeply love them, I deeply care for them, I deeply cherish them. And that makes, so you practicing that makes them feel it. So if you practice feeling good towards them in a compassion meditation, they will notice it. There's no secret magical energy flowing that you can't see while you're doing it. But next time you see them, they will notice. You will notice that it changes the way that you behave. It changes the way you feel towards them. So that's why I would totally sprinkle that on top. And now if we're coming back to the mini retreat, now we have the 3 pillars, the mindfulness, the brain programming, and the sprinkle of meditation. Now if we're coming back to the mini retreat, what I would highly suggest to do is really get into a habit of doing these things, making it part of your life, like brushing your teeth, like putting on clothes, doing meditation. So a good way of doing that is setting yourself a goal and sticking with it for, I would suggest, 8 weeks at least. I know that might sound a lot, but they found in studies that 8 weeks of meditation really changes your life. So give it a try. If you fall off the wagon and you don't do it for a little bit, just come back to it. It's fine. It's also, if you're doing mindfulness meditation, you're new to the practice and your mind wanders a lot, that's fine. That's all part of the practice. It doesn't have to be like that. Some people just go in and focus instantly. Some days I can focus instantly. Some days it's just a little bit harder, but every time I sit down and meditate. It actually changes me. It actually makes me better. So what I would suggest, very hands-on suggestions, I would do 10 minutes of mindfulness meditation scheduled for every day of the week. If you feel like 10 minutes is not cutting it, do 20 minutes. Try half an hour if you feel like it. If you're super short on and you really can't do it, do 5 minutes. If you feel like still so much going on and you completely forgot about everything and you can't do it, sit down, focus on your breath for 5 breaths. Brain programming, like I said, would be best done 3 times a day over at least the course of a month. For each brain program, you can have a couple of brain programs every month that you do simultaneously, one after the other. But yeah, 3 times a day brings the best results. And really feel it. Feel, what does it feel like? What does it look like? What are the situations in which I can apply this? How does that version of me feel like? How does that version of me look like? How does that version of me react? How is she? What kind of person is she? That's how I visualize that. That's how I step into this better version of myself. And I'm only saying better because that's what I want to be. Like, nobody should pick the brain programs for you, because that's what society does anyway. When they tell you, oh, you're going to be tired, or you're going to snap at your husband, or step out of that, choose what you want to be. And then a compassion meditation, I would just sprinkle on top whenever you feel like you either need it, then definitely do it, at least a little bit more than you feel like you need to. Or when you feel extra good, like when I have a day where I'm like extra sweet and lovely, and I have a lot of time, and I maybe spent the whole day in wonderful bliss with my family, then I sprinkle on a little bit more and I feel just a little bit better. And that just makes my life even sweeter. So yeah, I hope these suggestions were helpful. I'm going to repeat it just one more time. 10 minutes of mindfulness meditation every day. Highly recommended. Give it a try, please. Please, pretty please. Brain programming, 3 times a day. Oh yeah, I do it. I try to do it. Not always 100% on time with when, but I'm trying to do it in the morning before breakfast. And I'm trying to do it at lunchtime, before lunch or after lunch. And then I try to do it the moment I get home from work, because that's usually sometime before dinner. And that's how I remember it. Like, I have to have points in the day that remind me to practice for these. Oh, and mindfulness, you can do it in the mornings, you can do it in the evenings, you can do it during the day. Anytime is good. Whatever works for you is the best way to do it. Whatever makes you remember to do it, that's the way to go. And also make it enjoyable for yourself. This is time you take for yourself. It's time I feel better. When I've done 10 minutes of mindfulness meditation, I feel better. I feel better in my body. I feel better in my mind. I feel like I can breathe again. So good. Highly recommended. So, mindfulness meditation, brain programming, and then the compassion meditation whenever you feel like it. I would say you can do a 5-minute one. You can do a 10-minute one. I'm also going to post some further information in the description, so you can go and look up some meditations. And if you want me to, I can guide either one of those for you. Yeah, so I highly recommend those 3 things. Take the time for yourself. This is going to be so beneficial for yourself. Oh, and also when I had my last son, it was very helpful when I meditated while breastfeeding him. So that was super good, and I would like for you to try that out too. If you're breastfeeding, or if you're bottle feeding, you can also do it while bottle feeding. Just this moment where everything is so peaceful and calm. And then I was not meditating with just my breath, but I would be meditating in what's going on inside my body, and that was really sweet. So yeah, Try that mini retreat, please. Let me know how it goes. Absolutely, please. I'm very, very curious if you give it a try. If you want any more recommendations for material, if you want any more recordings, just let me know. All right. Bye.